Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 Act number 45 of 2023. President assent 25th December 2023. Preamble of the Act. An act to consolidate and amend the provisions relating to the offences and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto, be it enacted by Parliament in the 74th year of the Republic of India as follows. Chapter 1 Preliminary. Section 1 Short Title Commencement and Application Clause 1. This Act may be called the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023. Second, it shall come into force on such date as the central government may by notification in the official gazette appoint, and different dates may be appointed for different provision of the Sanhita. Third, every person shall be liable to punishment under the Sanhita and not otherwise for every act or omission contrary to the provisions thereof, of which he shall be guilty within India. Fourth, any person liable by any law for the time being in force in India to be tried for an offence committed beyond India shall be dealt with according to the provision of this Sanhita for any act committed beyond India in the same manner as if such act had been committed within India. Fifth, the provisions of this Sanhita shall also apply to any offence committed by a. any citizen of India in any place without and beyond India, b. any person on any ship or aircraft registered in India wherever it may be, c. any person in any place without and beyond India committing offence targeting a computer resource located in India. Explanation. In this section, the word offence includes every act committed outside India which, if committed in India, would be punishable under the Sanhita. Illustration. A, who is citizen of India, commits a murder in any place without and beyond India, he can be tried and convicted of murder in any place in India in which he may be found. Clause 6. Nothing in this Sanhita shall affect the provision of any act for punishing mutiny and desertion of officers, soldiers, sailors or airmen in the service of government in India, or the provision of any special law or local law. Going ahead, we can see section 2. Definitions. In this Sanhita, unless the context otherwise requires: 1. Act. Act denotes as well a series of acts as a single act. Second, animal means any living creature other than a human being. Third, child means any person below the age of 18 years. Fourth, counterfeit. A person is said to counterfeit who causes one thing to resemble another thing, intending by means of that resemblance to practice deception, or knowing it to be likely that deception will thereby be practiced. Explanation 1. It is not essential to counterfeiting that imitation should be exact. Explanation 2. When a person causes one thing to resemble another thing and the resemblance is such that a person might be deceived thereby, it shall be presumed until the contrary is proved that the person so causing the one thing to resemble the other thing intended by means of that resemblance to practice deception, or knew it to be likely that deception would thereby be practiced. Fifth, court means a judge who is empowered by law to act judicially alone, or a body of judges which is empowered by law to act judicially as a body when such judge or body of judges is acting judicially. Sixth, death means the death of a human being unless the contrary appears from the context. Seventh, dishonestly means doing anything with the intention of causing wrongful gain to one person or wrongful loss to another person. 8. Document means any matter expressed or described upon any substance by means of letters, figures or marks, or by more than one of those means, and includes electronic and digital record intended to be used or which may be used as evidence of that matter. Explanation 1. It is immaterial by what means or upon what substance the letters, figures or marks are formed, or whether the evidence is intended for or may be used in a court or not. Illustrations. A. Writing expressing the terms of a contract. which may be used as evidence of the contract is a document. B. A check upon a banker is a document. C. A power of attorney is a document. D. A map or plan which is intended to be used or which may be used as evidence is a document. E. A writing containing direction or instructions is a document. Explanation 2. Whatever is expressed by means of letters, figures or marks as explained by mercantile or other usage shall be deemed to be expressed by such letters, figures or marks within the meaning of this section, although the same may not be actually expressed. Illustration: A writes his name on the back of a bill of exchange payable to his order. The meaning of the endorsement as explained by mercantile use is that the bill is to be paid to the holder. The endorsement is a document and shall be construed in the same manner as if the words pay to the holder or words to that effect had been written over the signature. 9. Fraudulently means doing anything with the intention to defraud but not otherwise. 10. Gender. The pronoun he and its derivatives are used of any person whether male, female or transgender. Explanation: transgender shall have the meaning assigned to it in clause K of section 2 of the Transgender Persons (Protection of Rights) Act 2019. 11. Good faith. Nothing is said to be done or believed in good faith which is done or believed without due care and attention. 12. Government means the central government or a state government. 13. Harbor includes supplying a person with shelter, food, drink, money, clothes, arms, ammunition or means of conveyance, or the assisting a person by any means, whether of the same kind as those enumerated in this clause or not, to evade apprehension. 14. Injury means any harm whatever illegally caused to any person in body, mind, reputation or property. 15. Illegal and legally bound to do. The word illegal is applicable to everything which is an offence or which is prohibited by law or which which furnishes ground for a civil action. And a person is said to be legally bound to do whatever it is illegal in him to omit. 16. Judge means a person who is officially designated as a judge and includes a person who is empowered by law to give in any legal proceeding, civil or criminal, a definitive judgment or a judgment which, if not appealed against, would be definitive, or a judgment which, if confirmed by some other authority, would be definitive. Or second, which is one of a body or persons, which body of persons is empowered by law to give such a judgment. Illustration: a magistrate exercising jurisdiction in respect of a charge on which he has power to sentence to fine or imprisonment with or without appeal is a judge. This illustration makes it clear that if a judge is exercising jurisdiction where he can award sentence of fine or imprisonment, then he is a judge within this section. This is something extra not written in the Bareact. Going ahead, 17. Life means the life of a human being unless the contrary appears from the context. 18. Local law means a law applicable only to a particular part of India. 19. Man means male human being of any age. 20. Month and year. Wherever the month or the word year is used, it is to be understood that the month or year is to be reckoned according to Gregorian calendar. 21. Movable property includes property of every description except land and things attached to the earth or permanently fastened to anything which is attached to the earth. 22nd. Number. Unless the contrary appear from the context, words importing the singular number include the plural number, and words importing the plural number include the singular number. 23. Oath includes a solemn affirmation substituted by law for an oath, and any declaration required or authorized by law to be made before a public servant or to be used for the purpose of proof, whether in a court or not. 24. Offense. Except in the chapters and sections mentioned in subclauses A and B, the word offense means a thing punishable by the Sanhita but A. In chapter 3 and in the following section, namely subsection 2, 3, 4 and 5 of section 8, section 9, section 49, section 50, 52, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 119, 120, 123, subsection 7 and 8 of section 27, Section 222, Section 230, Section 231, Section 240, Section 248, Section 250, Section 251, Section 259, Section 260, 261, 262, 263, subsection 6 and 7 of Section 308 and subsection 2 of 330. The word offence means a thing punishable under this Sanhita or under any special law or local law. And B, in subsection 1 of section 189, section 211, 212, 238, 239, 249, 253 and subsection 1 of section 329, the word offence shall have the same meaning when the act punishable under the special law or local law is punishable under such law with imprisonment for a term of 6 months or more, whether with or without fine. Section 25 omission denotes as well as series of omissions as a single omission. Section 26 person includes any company or association or body of persons whether incorporated or not. Section 27 public includes any class of the public or any community. Section 28 public servant means a person falling under any of the descriptions, namely every commissioned officer in the army, navy or air force. This is A. B. Every judge including any person empowered by law to discharge whether by himself or as a member of any body any adjudicatory functions. C. Every officer of a court including a liquidator, receiver or commissioner whose duty it is as such officer to investigate or report on any matter of law or fact or to make, authenticate or to keep any document or to take charge or dispose of any property or to execute any judicial process or to administer any oath or to interpret or to preserve order in this order, and every person is specially authorized by a court to perform any of such duties. D. Every assessor or member of a panchayat assisting a court or public servant. E. Every arbitrator or other person to whom any cause or matter has been referred for decision or report by any court or by any other competent public authority. F. Every person who holds any office by virtue of which he is empowered to place or keep any person in confinement. G. Every officer of the government whose duty it is as such officer to prevent offences, to give information of offences, to bring offenders to justice or to protect the public health, safety or convenience. H. Every officer whose duty it is as such officer to take, receive, keep or expend any property on behalf of the government or to make any survey, assessment or contract on behalf of the government or to execute any revenue process or to investigate or to report on any matter affecting the pecuniary interest of the government or to make, authenticate or keep any document relating to the pecuniary interest of the government or to prevent the infraction of any law for the protection of the pecuniary interest of the government. I. Every officer whose duty it is as such officer to take, receive, keep or expend any property, to make survey or assessment or to levy any rate or tax for any secular common purpose of any village, town or district or to make, authenticate or keep any document for the ascertaining of the right of the people of any village, town or district. J. Every person who holds any office by virtue of which he is empowered to prepare, publish, maintain or revise an electoral roll or to conduct an election or part of an election. K. Every person 1. in the service or pay of the government or remunerated by fees or commission for the performance of any public duty by the government. Second, in the service or pay of a local authority as defined in clause 31 of section 3 of General Clauses Act 1897, a corporation established by or under a central or state act, or a government company as defined in clause 45 of section 2 of the Companies Act 2013. Explanation A. Persons falling under any of the description made in this clause are public servant, whether appointed by government or not. B. Every person who is in actual possession of the situation of a public servant, whatever legal defect there may be in his right to hold the situation, is a public servant. C. Election means an election for the purpose of selecting member of any legislative, municipal or other public authority or whatever character the method of selection to which is by or under any law for the time being in force. Illustration: a municipal officer is a public servant. Let me please underline this illustration. Okay, moving ahead. 29. Reason to believe. A person is said to have reason to believe a thing if he has sufficient cause to believe that thing but not otherwise. 30 is special law, means the law applicable to a particular subject. 31 valuable security means a document which is or purports to be a document whereby any legal right is created, extended, transferred, restricted, externalized or released, or whereby any person acknowledges that he lies under legal liability or has not a certain legal right. Illustration: A writes his name on the back of a bill of exchange. As the effect of this endorsement is to transfer the right to the bill to any person who may become the lawful holder of it, the endorsement is a valuable security. 32 vessel means anything made for the conveyance by water of human beings, or of property. 33 voluntarily. A person is said to cause an effect voluntarily when he causes it by means whereby he intended to cause it, or by means which at the time of employing those means he knew or had reason to believe or to be likely to cause it. Illustration: A sets fire by night to an inhabited house in a large town for the purpose of facilitating a robbery and thus cause the death of a person. Here A may not have intended to cause death and may even be sorry that the death has been caused by his act. Yet if he knew that he was likely to cause that death, he has caused death voluntarily. 34 will means any testamentary document. 35 women means a female human of any age. 36 wrongful gain means gain by unlawful means of property to which the person gaining is not legally entitled. 37 wrongful loss means the loss by unlawful means of property to which the person losing it is legally entitled. 38 gaining wrongfully and losing wrongfully. A person is said to gain wrongfully when such person retains wrongfully, as well as when such person acquires wrongfully. A person is said to lose wrongfully when such person is wrongfully kept out of property, as well as when such person is wrongfully deprived of property. And 39 words and expression used but not defined in this Sahita but defined in the Information Technology Act 2000 and the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sahita 2023 shall have the meanings respectively assigned to them in that act and Sahita. So here I think we are done with section 2. This was a long section. Moving ahead, I have arrived on section 3. General explanations. This seems to be a big section as well. Oh Lord. Clause 1. Throughout the Sahita, every definition of an offence, every penal provision, and every illustration of every such definition or penal provision shall be understood subject to the exceptions contained in the chapter entitled General Exceptions, though those exceptions are not repeated in such definition, penal provision or illustration. Why is this talking about? Anyway, illustrations. A. The sections in this Sahita which contain definition of offences do not express that a child under 7 years of age cannot commit such offences, but the definition are to be understood subject to the general exception which provides that nothing shall be an offence which is done by a child under 7 years of age. B. A police officer without warrant apprehends Z. Who apprehends Z or Z? Okay. Who has committed murder. Here A is not guilty of the offence of wrongful confinement, for he was bounded by law to apprehend Z, and therefore the case falls within the general exception which provides that nothing is an offence which is done by a person who is bound by law to do it. Second, Every expression which is explained in any part of the Samhita is used in every part of the Samhita in conformity with the explanation. Third, when property is in possession of a person's spouse, clerk or servant or on account of that person, it is that person's possession within the meaning of the Samhita. Explanation: a person employed temporarily or on a particular occasion in the capacity of a clerk or servant is a clerk or servant within the meaning of the subsection. Fourth, in every part of the Samhita, except where a contrary intention appears from the context, words which refer to act done extended also to illegal omissions. Fifth, when a criminal act is done by several persons in furtherance of the common intention of all, each of such persons is liable for that act in the same manner as if it were done by him alone. Sixth, whenever an act which is criminal only by reason of its being done with a criminal knowledge or intention is done by several persons, each of such persons who joins in the act with such knowledge or intention is liable for the act in the same manner as if the act were done by him alone with that knowledge or intention. 7. Wherever the causing of a certain effect or an attempt to cause that effect by an act or by an omission is an offense, it is to be understood that the causing of that effect partly by an act and partly by an omission is the same offense. Illustration: A intentionally causes Z's death, partly by illegally omitting to give Z food and partly by beating Z. A has committed murder. 8th, when an offense is committed by means of several acts, whoever intentionally cooperates in the commission of that offense by doing any one of those acts, either singly or jointly with any other person, commits that offense. Illustration: A and B agree to murder Z by severally and at different times by giving him small doses of poison. A and B administered the poison according to the agreement with the intent to murder Z. Z dies from the effect of several doses of such poison so administered to him. Here A and B intentionally cooperate in the commission of murder, and as each of them does an act by which the death is caused, they are both guilty of the offense, though their acts are separate. Illustration: B, A and B are joint jailers and as such have the charge of Z, a prisoner, alternatively for 6 hours at a time. A and B, intending to cause Z's death, knowingly cooperate in causing that effect by illegally omitting each during the time of his attendance to furnish Z with food supplied to them for that purpose. D dies of hunger, Z dies of hunger. Both A and B are guilty of the murder of Z. C. Illustration: C. A jailer, has the charge of Z, a prisoner. A, intending to cause Z's death, illegally omits to supply Z with food, in consequence of which Z is much reduced in strength, but the starvation is not sufficient to cause his death. A is dismissed from his office and B succeeds him. B, without collusion or cooperation with A, illegally omits to supply Z with food, knowing that he is likely thereby to cause Z's death. Z dies of hunger. B is guilty of murder, but as A did not cooperate with B, A is only guilty of an attempt to commit murder. 9th, where several persons are engaged or concerned in the omission of a criminal act, in the commission of a criminal act, they may be guilty of different offences by means of that act. Illustration for this is: A attacks Z under such circumstances of grave provocation that his killing of Z would be only culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. B, having ill will towards Z and intending to kill him and not having been subject to the provocation, assists Z in killing Z. Here, though A and B are both engaged in causing Z's death, B is guilty of murder and A is guilty only of the culpable homicide. I think we have finished section 3.